What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jonathan with Calling in Favors episode number. I don't know. We'll just call it the holiday episode. It's just me a couple days ago hitting some balls, working on my takeaway, and working on just my golf game. Looking for flights that I'm looking to see, finding out ways to get myself to feel my body when I can't feel my body. You know, rheumatoid arthritis has been a struggle for me my whole life. But I wasn't diagnosed until I was 25 years old, and I had already stopped playing for a living. For 25 years on the golf course, maybe 25, I guess probably more like 12 years on the golf course, I struggled through pain. And no, I didn't want to have chit-chat while I was out walking. You go back to pictures of me playing Resi when I was a kid. Unfortunately, my playing partner is no longer with us, Chris Mora. But you would see us walking 40 yards apart with my head down. I didn't want to have chit-chat. I didn't like conversation. Who wants to hear about how miserable I am and how much pain I'm in? So yeah, I'm the first to admit I can be standoffish. And if I'm walking with my head down, it's usually because I'm in pain or in deep thought. And if somebody distracts me, I'm probably not the most pleasant. That's what Bogey did for me. You guys saw him before you saw me. That's what the girlfriend did for me. We'd go play all these fancy golf courses, and for once, eyes weren't on John the club fitter. Eyes were on this young girl who was about to rip it 250 down the middle. See, she was a good golfer, and people love watching good golf. I don't understand the whole obsession with the internet and bad golf. You know, I'm watching the current episode of Foreplay, and I started thinking, my buddies were saying that they sold out. They didn't sell out. This is exactly who they were trying to be from day one. They were groupies. They were fans of the sport and the PGA Tour. They signed with TaylorMade, and now they have access to all of that. It's cool to watch, and it's fun. Unfortunately, there's too many copycats out there. See TikTok and the corny dances. One of the things that I do while I'm driving around is I listen to the golden age of hip-hop. From 93 till about 98 or 99, hip-hop was trying to create its way into the mainstream, and by doing so, they would create one or two songs that were radio ready. 112 featuring Biggie. Nas, If I Rule the World. Jay-Z, Feeling It. Biggie, Juicy is the one that everybody hears. But as soon as you skip those tracks and go back to the rest of the record, they're as hard and as gully as they used to be. That's the way I wish golf was. Yeah, the goofy golf is fun. Foreplay. Bob Does Sports. Good. They're all great. They're entertaining and they're fun to watch. But the average 26 handicap by himself, play a hole with me while you make 12, is not entertaining to me. I'm sorry. And it's gotten to a point where that's become more common than good content. Yeah, the holidays are a struggle for me, and I'm going through some stuff right now, getting myself off the antidepressant as well as prednisone. So my mood might be a little cranky and my attitude may be a little hit or miss, but that's why I deleted my social media. I just couldn't take it anymore. Sometime in the early 2000s, the NBA decided they were going to make Christmas a thing, and they were going to market the hell out of it. You know, they'd always played on Christmas Day, but it was never really a marketing setup. It was just the regular scheduled games. They started designing Christmas uniforms, and the sneakers followed suit. Kobe with the Grinch, or the reverse Grinch. I remember Paul Pierce wearing bright reds with green uniforms. I kind of miss the days, even though it's a little too get off my lawn, where Jordan's black and reds weren't legal because they didn't have enough white in it. Now, I think that's going a little too far, but I think we've gone off the rails with the neon shoes. Combine that with the in-season tournament courts that you can't look at, and it's tough to watch. I guess I'm a grumpy Gus for complaining about that, right? Who else says it? They talk about it online and then it gets shut down because the NBA pays all their bills. Well, the same thing's happening with the golf rollback. The USGA and the R&A got together 5 years ago and started working on a program. Where was Dave Marr and Titleist, TaylorMade, Callaway, Snell, and all these other golf companies then? They waited until the rule was in place to say you can't do that. They didn't give stats. They didn't give arguments. They just said it politely. That's what happens in golf. You just say things politely. Can you imagine if LeBron James left Nike? It would be the biggest story on every ESPN show and headline and every website and every Instagram page. But when Tiger does it, he gives the reporter a look and they shut it down. That's the one thing I noticed. Trent wanted to talk about it. Don't forget, Rapp's Tiger's guy. He gave him a look. They made 2 little comments on it and they shut it down. Why? Because they're afraid of not having access. So that's where we've gotten now in golf. We talk PGA Tour and what you like, or goofy golf. And when real hard topics come up, like how does Jay Monahan still have a job, or 95% of the golfing community not wanting the golf ball rollback, or the greatest of all time leaving one of the biggest companies in the world, a leader in every sport that failed miserably over and over in golf. But with the fear of hurting feelings and not having access anymore, we sweep these stories under the rug, and they go without saying because it's not a topic on mainstream talk radio. It's only a topic on the Golf Channel where they're the sweetest guys in the game. Call me an asshole all you want. I'd rather be an asshole than have my tongue tied. I'm going to say what I want to say, no matter who it offends. No, I'm not talking about race, religion, or any other major earth-shattering topics like World War III. I'm talking about golf. And most of the time when I'm ranting and raving, trust me, I've done my research and I'm correct. Yeah, I've taken my shots. Bob the Builder was a disrespectful rich fuck when I was 17 working in the bag room. I couldn't tell him to fuck off then. But now he's giving me ample material because he has no clue what he's doing. He ran a public par 3 course. Great for 3 years. And how were they great? How'd they make money? They hired a superintendent and they got the golf course in good shape. When he tried to pimp it out and maximize value and build a driving range and forgot about everything but golf and the most important part of golf, the greens, he lost them. And then he cashed out and sold. I have a feeling that's going to happen at Caddyshack too. I told him 3 years ago on the driving range at the PGA show that the Hurricane was about to lose greens. They have no roots, they're bumpy as hell, and their soil composition is mud. This year they lost them. A golf course around the way came and helped them out and helped them punch and do all the things that you're supposed to do to have good greens. And then Bob the Builder's assistant, the used car salesman, is strutting around like a peacock around the club, talking about the scramble that they stole from that same fucking club. It's just common sense. And unfortunately, when you have owners in the golf industry, you have cheap. They cut every corner they can, like not punching greens, like not using moisture meters, just watering blindly, because that's the easy way to do it. It's also the way you end up with 1030 shotguns, because owners know what they're doing. I left the golf business because I couldn't take it anymore. banging my head against the wall watching people make dumb decision after dumb decision that I watched as a kid at my home club growing up. There's one thing that sells golf: good conditions. Now you can give me the sports talk radio and the issues that we have, and let's talk about it all they want. But at the end of the day, there's nobody talking about golf. Like real golf. Stuff that we deal with. Hey, don't go play that golf course this year. The greens ain't great. Go here instead. Hey, I played the public course around the way the other day, and man, was it in great shape. You ought to see the way the ball sits up like it's on a tee on the fairway. These are the things that golfers talk about. After rounds, sitting down, having a beer. These are things that golfers want you to talk about on the Golf Channel. We want to talk about the rollback. We want to hear it. We want to hear the reasons. We want to hear the numbers. Unfortunately, too many experts in club fitting and teaching and can't do a thing without relying on a monitor. How do you see the flights that you're looking for hitting it 6 feet into a net on a monitor that shrinks misses? When I'm fitting you, a lot of times I didn't even watch your golf swing. I sat there and I watched what the golf ball did and where it went when you missed. And if it didn't get better, I told you to keep the stuff you were playing. The last thing I did to people was try to push them into the most expensive product I possibly could. I mean, shit. TrueSpec went into business with graphite design. Just so that way they could charge more, have a lower bottom line, and put everybody into the perfect shaft that they designed. You look at all of my clubs from back in the day. My Mizuno MP14s, my Titleist 983K. They're loaded with lead tape. Everything that these guys are doing with the adjustable heads and new shafts and things like that, we did it. The only difference is we did it out on the driving range when we didn't see the flight that we were looking for. The golf ball rollback is going to put pressure on your misses. The ball's going to spin more, and it's going to be a lot more offline than it used to be. Today, with irrigation heads in the rough, golf has gotten a lot harder because of it. It's funny, everybody's like, oh, you should like soft conditions. You're a tour player. Right. Give me soft greens and golf gets a little easier. But give me a fucking mud ball in August and I got no chance. We're too worried about talking about sales and all the goofy things that go on in golf and what equipment he's playing and what's good there. I don't care what anybody's playing. You think any of that shit's going to fit me? Shallowed out, strong grip, flat with no spin? None of these things affect my game. And they don't affect a lot of your games. But unfortunately, you get guys like Club Champion and TrueSpec and Clue Cubs and all these places pushing you into stuff that's going to magically make you better. The 90 players and the 25 handicaps are the ones that are going to get hurt the most by this golf ball rollback. And the USGA is hiding it by talking distance only. Not one person has talked about offline shots because nobody wants to talk about the negative. Everybody wants to be happy-go-lucky and it's okay and just take it in golf. I use Caddyshack 2 as an example. I played there about 10 years ago with the Greens chairman at the time, and he asked me my opinion. Actually, it's probably more like 15 now because I was a member there for 7 years. So it's probably more like 15 years ago, probably in the early 2000s. It's in good shape. It's a little soft, and you can tell where all the low areas have dead spots. That's where the water collects, and it just kills the grass. And if they don't change this, it's going to get worse before it gets better. Here we are 15 years later, and it's gotten worse. But the only person that had the balls to stick up and say it at the annual meeting got ran out of the club. He didn't get kicked out. He left. Why? Because he was tired of banging his head against the fucking wall and making no progress. I can't help but laugh at the board member that I used to be buddies with. Had lunch with him one day, and he's like, John, you just can't do it that way. You have to be political. There's a way to get things done and a way not to get things done. That same guy stuck up for himself this year at the annual meeting, was patted on his head and put on his knee by Bob the Builder. There, guy. You don't know what you're talking about? Stay in your lane. All right. I've ranted enough about the bad stuff in golf. Let's talk some golf. So here you see, I'm working on a move that will help my golf swing. You'll see me hinge my wrists so that way my hands can't help with the takeaway. It causes me to turn the club away with my shoulders and my hips, which, yes, you want to do all the time. But with my body type, I have to understand I'm never going to get to 0-0. I'm never going to get to the perfect position. I'm never going to get to the perfect golf swing. You know, I struggle with things that you guys don't even know about because I try not to talk about them. Here I'm showing you guys how my hands kind of get like lumpy, and it's when blood doesn't go to my fingertips to fill them. I'm sure some of you guys have seen this if you're ever in detention or punished in school and had to write a lot. You get it on that middle index finger where the pencil sits. Now trying to play golf with that, it's difficult. I have to find ways to feel things. So yes, it does matter when I go to the glove aisle at Christmas at PGA Superstore and make sure they buy the right glove, the right size, the way it feels. Grips. I can never use a ribbed grip or an aligned grip. I have a strong grip and my hands don't really feel things the way they need. A lot of times in these videos, you'll see me kind of re-gripping and adjusting my hands to get them on the right way. The align feels terrible in my hands. That doesn't mean I'm not going to tell you to use it. That's the difference between sales and teaching and helping. I never considered myself a salesman. I always considered myself a club fitter. When guys would ask what I play, I'd be like, you know, it doesn't really matter. I'll tell you at the end. You can go through my bag. You can go through what you want. We're probably going to hit some of the stuff that I play. I want you to make your opinion on it. You fit yourself most of the time. Club fitters can get it down to 2, 3, maybe even 4. And we're going to let you hit as many shots as you want. I'd sit in the back with my hands folded and watching numbers and just listening to your comments. You fit yourself. Feel has to do with it as much as anything else. Say you see me thumbs up, I hit the 100-yard marker. But when you go through the grip aisle and you're talking about mid-size, feels better. What size glove do you wear? Medium. What's your miss? Right or a slice? Okay. The bigger the grip, the harder it is to get the face closed. Now, if you have large hands and a bigger grip fits, perfect. If you don't, if you're just doing it because it feels better, you're doing yourself a disservice. Feel things, but understand what things do as well. There's some stuff that I compromise. Trust me, I'd love to play an 8-degree driver with a small head that looks great. Doesn't work for my game. Too low spin. I'd hit knuckleballs that just fall out of the sky. One of the things that's being lost and ignored and fitting today is landing angle. Landing angle is one of the most important numbers in golf. If you're a guy that's flat or hits knuckleballs, doesn't have a lot of spin, and doesn't take a big divot, don't panic. Low spin with a 7-iron is fine. As long as it comes down at 52 or 53, it'll stop with no problem. If you're launching it at 10 and landing it at 41, then yeah, spin rates are a problem. We need to work on that. But let's talk about some holiday gift guide stuff now. Places like PGA Superstore, Golfer's Warehouse and Dick's serve a purpose in the game. They have everything from grips to used clubs. But do you think I want my significant other shopping in this aisle, as big a field guy as I am? How about this one? Do I want accessories, or do I want to buy them from the next top 100 that I play? Is it cool to have a bazooka head cover on your driver, or a Smathers and Branson from OS? Yeah, I get it. Finances change ideas and dictate what we can and can't buy, but how about the golf ball aisle? Or wedges? You want your significant other trying to figure that one out? What does he need? Don't even get me started on putters. Between lofts and lies and lengths and shapes. How about the ones that are locked up in a box? They're probably locked up for a reason. Does your family member know that? Not trying to be a hater at all. I'm not the Grinch. I'm trying to help. The sock and hat aisle can be a challenge for most golfers. We've talked about Nike. Did you ever really go to Dick's to cop your Jordans on the holiday? That was specialty shops only. I couldn't find the FootJoys I wear. Barstool gear is sweet, as long as it's Peter Millar. Some of their other stuff belongs on the accessory aisles. For those of you supporting me over the last 8 months, I can't thank you enough. You've finally seen behind the curtain of my life. It's a roller coaster, on and off medications. For those of you that disagree, you have an open invite. Happy holidays and Happy New Year to everybody listening. Hopefully we'll see you on the other side. Let's go!